is it, Jim? Because he's doing this tomorrow. I go,
What's he gonna drop off?
Helen Abbey.
John, it's gonna do it. At all. Did it send that to everybody? You know.
I was somewhere else right before this. So
No, we were actually, Teresa and I were actually considering one bag.
how do you manage all your stuff?
We're travelers, baby.
Oh,
I've had internet.
oh.
There's a lot of countries I can't go back to.
Gosh, you don't. Oh, Doug.
Okay, so that might take-
See, take it. We need to be respected.
We rolling? Yeah, we're good to go.
I didn't hear it, sorry. At this time, we will begin the work study session for the Adrian City Commission for October 16th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Mayor Heath,
Present.
Commissioner Halt,
Present.
Commissioner Roberts. Present. Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Strayer.
Present.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Present.
Commissioner Gauss,
Present.
all commission members present.
At this time, I will now hand it over to City Administrator Greg Elliott.
Mayor. Recently adopted. Strategic plan, we provided that we would hold monthly discussions regarding some elements of the strategic plan. So it's been 1 month since we adopted it. I'll put it on the agenda tonight. Yeah. Have such a discussion. If there's anything in there that you all want to talk about, feel free to bring those things up. I thought I'd go through a few things of note that we're working on. So we one of the under goal area number 1, economic growth and vibrancy, one of the one year task was to adopt a new leaner zoning ordinance. That is, of course, in the works, as I've been updating you on with my weekly reports. We have periodic check-in meetings. Smith Group is doing that after their contract is being funded by the RIC program. Through a grant we got from them for becoming essentials level certified in RIC. That's about a 1-year process. As some of you know, the steering committee has also been appointed that meets less frequently. Jeremy and I meet every couple of weeks with them, and they'll ask us to enlighten them on specific points. So I had a meeting last Friday with them about the scope of site plan review. And we talked about ideas to make more of that administrative so that you don't have time waiting for the planning commission meetings, but still being cognizant of the fact that we have a planning commission for a reason. And in fact, the planning commission, per our charter requires us to have a planning commission, so we don't want to limit that their role too far. I mean, some communities will go to that extreme. Madison Heights, for example, doesn't put anything in front of their planning commission. Every site plan is approved administratively. I think that's an extreme position, and we aren't intending to go there. But the more we can do administratively, the faster projects can move along for people. And so that is a goal we've identified for them. That was the meeting last week, but that 1-year task is well underway now. 2, also under that goal area, was to develop a job description for an economic development and grant writing position. This is something I've thought a fair amount about. I haven't drafted a job description yet because we kind of have one. We used to have an economic development coordinator, and that position was part and parcel with the DD, then what was then called the DBA director's position. To my mind, and I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this tonight. It would make sense to move back in that direction. My observation has been that the DDA struggles with funding the position that they have on their own. And even though we give them $35,000 a year for that, you know, they've had to dip into fund balance in order to balance their books the last over the course of the last year. And of course, there's much that, you know, as is identified by the strategic plan, there's much that we could benefit from having an in-house person to do economic development work again. We prioritize code enforcement over that, and that's gone very, very well with two code enforcement officers in the division of duties between rental housing inspection and other general code enforcement. But you know, we've been able to absorb all that within the general fund, and I think we could bring that sort of a position back if it was a shared position, a truly shared position between the two. Now, the Main Street director position is a much bigger job than DDA director of old, which was a fairly small job. And this is a pretty big job, and so the division of duties would certainly be different, but to me, that has a lot of benefits to us. It makes a lot of sense. And you probably all know, or if you didn't know, I'll tell you that Jay is a city employee. He's borrowed by the DDA. The DDA is supposed to pick up everything associated with the salary and benefits other than the $35,000 that we give them for that position. But like I said, I think they're struggling to do that. And so by sharing those duties, and honestly, you know, when you're doing economic development work, which is exactly what he does for the downtown, you know, those boundaries are sort of artificial boundaries. Right? I mean, a very great deal of what we get in terms of activity of that sort is downtown. But every so often there's something that, you know, may or may not be within the downtown, or we're trying to attract the business and it could be downtown or it could not be downtown. Well, there's sort of artificial boundaries by not allowing them to work in the rest of the city. So that is my idea as it relates to beginning to address that one of the tasks that was identified in the plan. So I'm interested in your thoughts on that if you have them.
I think we need further discussion. I'm concerned that someone who's focused primarily on downtown, I'm interested in having a farther reach for getting big businesses to come to town. So I'm just not comfortable yet, maybe further discussion with having the focus on downtown and maybe reaching out to the rest of the community.
I mean, of course, nothing that we would do here changes our relationship with Lenawee now, and we're relying on them right now for all of that sort of activity. Lenawee now is very much focused on the way their activity principally works on our behalf is that they get these site location referrals from the Detroit Regional Partnership. They get probably 2 or 3 of them a week, I would say. And they just forward those on to the community. But for us, they're aware of certain sites that we have that we're trying to market in that regard. For example, the former Marvin Farm, even though we don't own it anymore, is a prime development site. And so Tim will get with me and he'll say, are you okay with us pitching that site for this project? And they do that. And so that would continue to happen in the category that you identify. The other thing I think to remember in that regard is what I always say about economic development, which is the job follow people, people don't follow jobs. Right? And our principal goal is my vision of our principal goal. Create a high quality of life. Community that makes people want to live here, which will make employees well located here. And I do think there's a nice thing. position, which, you know, much of our quality of life likewise is focused on coordinating activities that are happening. So, the slide is a concern about it, but kind of how I'm thinking about it.
One of my concerns would be that, you know, can someone do that Main Street director job and do this and give them both the due diligence that they need? I mean, I just know, and maybe it's because it's been at the beginning of the Main Street director time, but I do know that, you know, he's been very, at least, you know, Jay as the Main Street director has been very, he's had to go to a lot of things and be gone and be very involved within Main Street, and they've really taken up a lot of his time. Can that person, you know, do both? A and B, you know, I just know, like, to kind of echo what Commissioner Gauss was saying, I know we hear, you know, people be like, oh, city's just focused on downtown, and then you get people that are like, city doesn't focus enough on downtown, you know. I would be a little concerned about that conflict coming across, you know, like with that person be kind of caught in that middle that already exists. I mean, we hear that back and forth a lot.
Oh, we hear that Adrian is not business friendly.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
And, you know, we have to dispel, you know, that perception. If we're gonna get anybody to come. But that's a whole nother thing to look at.
Right. You know, I mean, I think there, and Jay can speak for himself, and we're talking about a position, not Jay in particular, but.
Right.
You know, and, you know, although he is aware of my thoughts on this, I have not had this discussion with the DVA chair, and so. As always, I come to you first. You know, but my sense is that the ramp up and becoming a new Main Street, you know, involves a lot of work. And, we get down the line, and that's an established thing. That will not be really as true. But he also wants to sort of get out of the event side of things, and,
Right.
and of course, what's supposed to be happening with Main Street is that there's supposed to have a stable of volunteers who are available to sort of run the events. As opposed to him being here, one case this year, you know, 12 hours, so that he can open, you know, babysit an event that was happening was sponsored by a partner. So I do think that was not quite to what we did in the past, but that was theoretically what we did in the past.
Well, I think we have a list of one-year tasks and enhanced community image as well. And so there's a couple positions that we were kind of looking at and discussing. And being good fiduciary stewards, excuse me, combining that. And then opening up some more marketing and stuff or whatever, that might be a smart move so that we can add in some of these other things that we want to.
Yeah, well, again, if we're creating multiple positions, right?
We need to look at what's the best,
We
when
can
we
use,
merge together. They give us
get more
our-
bang for our buck with fewer dollars, then we certainly want to do that. This seems to me to be a way that we can do that. A lot of bang for fewer.
Well, you know, our code enforcement, I understood, you know, we put emphasis on code enforcement a couple of years ago. And that department has really thrived and done a good job since we added some people. I have a similar concern to what the mayor says about if you combine the Main Street person and economic development, is it more than one person to be tasked for? So would you want to add a person there as some sort of support, or I don't know if you want to call it support or not, but it just seems like code enforcement, we've done so much better since we added some personnel.
We added administrative support, and that made a huge difference. Not everybody understands that. Now, our goal is to have them never in the office, right, and only have Leslie in the office, as the administrative face of code enforcement. You know, yes, I think you're right. I think, like I alluded to, whether it's through volunteers or through a part-time position or something, taking the events piece off of the Main Street director piece makes it a whole different job. Seemed to me to make a lot of sense. You know, when Jay first started it, he was actually the market manager for the farmers market as well. And similarly, we brought in a new market manager. That piece away from what he had to do with Ditko. So I think there are other things like that, and those are particularly, you know, events are a particularly time, you know, gobbling thing, you know, where you spend a lot of your time just babysitting events, just being on the ground for events, but you know, it is not necessarily something.
I know that prior to becoming a commissioner, I worked with a staff person at City Hall that was part of economic development, who did a lot of support work, graphic design work, and things like that. And so I sort of saw how city was using that work, and that's sort of what made me think about all this. That he used to produce a lot of marketing material that was specific to the city.
Yeah, well, I mean, we still have someone who does that, and that's Michelle, but
Michelle has a lot on her plate.
you know, she likewise has a lot on her plate, and
But that's kind of what we have, you know, right now we're on economic growth, but if you look over at enhanced community image. And those one-year tasks, we have develop a job description for communications and marketing. So we have, you know, we came up with some positions that we want to develop within the first year. And I just think that those are two different, right? Economic development and then communications and marketing are two different positions that and I think we do both, quite frankly.
I agree.
And as long as Greg stays on, he does economic development as well, so, you know, if working with Jay and Greg together is a beneficial move for the city, and we can look at and that combination, and we can develop what, you know, something that matches both of their needs to move forward. We can also look at some of these other positions that we want to, you know, and it doesn't work out, then we come back to the drawing table, you know. But I think that frees up, you know, we can't just go out and hire 6 new people, right? You know, there goes our fund balance. So what can we do to merge some of these together to maintain some funding is important.
yeah, I'm very much about not ever going into fund balance for recurring expenditures. Going into fund balance is for one time. That position that has to be funded.
Right.
This helps us implement, this would help us implement it. A lot of people talk about the community development director position as no economic, no. Community development director is not an economic position as such. You know, I have some familiarity with it, and I'm able to do some of that. My background in community development was not on the economic development side. You know, and so something that could really help me, I'm running that department going forward is something like that. I do some of that, but
You have a lot on your plate.
high level stuff, but you know, do.
You have a lot on your plate too. I'm curious to see what a job description looks like.
Yeah, and we can, and we're not in a huge crash and rush to do this or anything, nothing like that at all. I can resurrect the one that we have and make some tweaks to it. Bring it back. That's monthly check-in. See where we're at, you know. We're thinking on that.
Yeah, in fact, I was gonna ask, your monthly updates. We just have it as a standing item on second meeting of every month, we put it on the agenda.
For work sessions?
Yeah.
No, I think that's what is indicated.
Okay.
Policy we adopted. That's my plan, so second pre-meeting in the month, we'll have this on.
Can you give us an update on the revolving loan fund and where we stand with that, please?
Well, you adopted the criteria, eligibility criteria, so we're in the process now of getting paperwork together. Code enforcement is identifying it as an option now for people who are within its target market, if you will, those who are impacted by the code
Mhm.
enforcement process who may not be able to otherwise handle the expense of compliance. So that's Leslie's sort of developing a list of who those folks might be. Roll it out. I need to go over, I want to talk to a title company about actually doing the paperwork for us. And much of it is in the nature of what they do. And then we'll give them some standard docs. That piece of that, relatively small fee there for us. Yeah, Leslie is overwhelmed. He can't paper all those deals.
Thank you.
That was the one I wanted to talk about. We don't have a ton of time tonight, so unless there's others that we all want to talk about. Get on to our next item.
I think a lot of them have been started, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, things are in the works. I highlighted some, the mural project, again, Jay's working on that. Task force, the park issues, the chief, police chief and, Parks and Rec director and I have been meeting periodically. In fact, we just suspended our weekly meetings for the time being this week. We're doing so well with, the parks right now. License plate reader. That's in here.
It's here. They're using them.
I mean, that contract's been Latin, stalling. Yeah, I have given some thought to the DEI component of the new position. I really think that belongs in human resources. What is some support for the HR director looks like that could accomplish that goal of that task. Those are the ones I highlighted. Anything else I would like to talk about? Remember to bring these to second meeting of the month.
Thanks for the updates.
Okay, number 2 is the HRC ordinance. I was so Mayor and I were confident that this was in a good enough position that we also have this on for first reading tonight. Mr. Roberts, do you want to talk about the meeting that you had, something in the last meeting?
Sure.
I believe we did incorporate all the changes that you discussed.
I think there was only one that got, and that was about training. I noticed that one got left in, and we suggested later Bernard did not want that either.
You'll have to remind me on that one.
So it would be the first, well, right now it's under C2. That, and I shouldn't say right now, the old one is under C2. I didn't print the new one.
Oh.
So, gosh, Doug and Kelly and I met with, under Lady Bernard 2 weeks ago,
Mhm.
almost. And had a pretty good hour and a half long discussion about where we want this to go and how we got here, and some suggestions of, what were some big picture items that we want to change. And one of them, that she brought up, was she didn't feel like training was a part of the HRC. Now, my understanding of what she said. This is what if you guys heard that too. And then there were some just minor wording things that we talked about. Just,
Yeah, we brought some clarity for her.
yeah.
There
yeah,
were some
It was.
things that she was still questioning that we just gave the answer that doesn't work, or that does work, but that's,
Right,
we agree. We just,
yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is in your packets, it's not in the pre-meeting packet, it's in the regular meeting packet, and the highlighting are the things that I changed based on Commissioner Roberts' notes.
Mhm.
What I would say about that reference to training, that's the sort of the preamble of what the intent of the HRC is. And then the enumerated items of things that it's actually passed with doing with the approval of the city commission.
Yeah, which those really didn't,
So I don't know that by saying, one of its intents is to aid in training, empowering them to do that, it might be someday. Do such a thing. I don't think it's appearance in that paragraph one way or the other. The difference in what the charge would be.
I don't think so either. I think we can go forward tonight, but I felt that we kind of got on the same page with her on what the vision was, and it really is to provide programming throughout the year that's reviewed by the city commission, and to have a plan, really. That's what I got out of our meeting, is really just to have a plan for what the HRC is going to do for the year. And to plan for that, to budget for that, to get support for that. Obviously, things are going to come up that we, might need to throw in from time to time if there's an issue. But she had it, she came prepared. She did. She came prepared with items of things that she thought the HRC would want to support for next year. So I think she has a good vision of what can and should be done.
And she talked to me, she can't be here because she's got a family emergency.
She's online.
She's probably online, but she did talk to me. She said I'll probably be online, but I might be listening. But she said the same thing. She did call me and she said that she felt really confident that that it was in a good place, that where it was at, or she felt like it was a really good discussion and that everybody was really on the same page. She said the same thing. And so, because, she was asking, she wasn't going to be here, and I just said, well, we're going to, possibly do the first reading if everybody agrees, and she was like, that's fine. I feel like everything, when we talked about it and the rewording, and she felt really confident with it.
I think one thing we talked about is that the position to chair or the commission liaison to that would be elected by the commission. I don't know if you left already.
Oh, what we were talking about is it's not necessarily going to be the mayor.
Yeah.
It would be like the planning commission, we have Gordon doing that. Because you go to DBA already and a lot of other things, so I believe I requested that team. I'm not sure that I did.
Oh,
And it not be,
I don't think I.
Shoot.
so that we can make it, and just because if we keep it just one, not saying it's, Angie, but we set a precedence for the mayor to do that. And while we may have a very diverse board or commissioners, that might be somebody else's passion where it's not the mayor's passion, right? And so it should be kind of an elected by the body, just like we do each zoning and code, all that stuff.
Is it even?
I don't know.
It
described?
might be in the bylaws.
I think it's in the bylaws. I don't-
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Which they haven't done. I mean, the ordinance has. to go
right. I was
through.
reviewing those two and
Yeah.
marked
I
up.
mean,
quite a
the
bit.
bylaws are obviously not,
Right, part of it, so it might be in the bylaws.
it's here, created. Consisting of 7 members to be appointed by the mayor with the approval of the city commission.
Okay,
That's all it says. You can. Entirely up to your discretion.
Yeah,
I think a lot of our conversation had to do with the bylaws and attendance and things like that, so.
Yeah, how
Those
many
are things that
meetings,
we,
we talked
you
about how
know,
many meetings and
mhm,
how things tend to water down when you have more meetings, it doesn't help an organization to have more meetings. Better have it getting
Yeah.
3 or 4 a year.
and being able to plan ahead, it makes everything a little bit more
Right.
strategic and,
Yeah, she was very
yeah, it was a
happy with those
great meeting,
discussions.
I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very good.
I'm okay with one for you with tonight. That was where we left it. That makes sense. Greg, suggestions from that meeting and then I believe that you guys and Lady Bernard suggestions. Found it in my
Appreciate that, Mary.
drafts. Didn't realize I hadn't sent it to you right away, so I apologize. You didn't get it right away.
Appreciate your hard work.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Problem. I just, I know this has been a long time coming, but I think it's important. And not that this is the last time we'll ever amend it, but let's at least, get it moving in the right direction.
I think, this falls into one of our, 1-year task for enhanced community image too. The HRC and then just some of the, DEI in that. I think this is communication all in that same list of things that we want to accomplish. I think that those are all key factors in this change and this movement that we've had. Exciting to see that kind of started out a little chaotic, but tumble into something that is becoming progressive and good.
Anybody else have anything to discuss? That audience or just for introduction tonight. So. Robert, I'm doing that. Moving right along. All right, so last time we had a discussion about some policies that I thought were needed and we were in accord with most of those. I was able we were able to knock out a couple of the simple ones that I included drafts of in the pre-meeting packet. Or the one regarding agenda items, which is simply as discussed, mayor and 2 commissioners can request items to be placed on city agenda. And then the one regarding communications with staff, directing that they be by way of the city administrator. I think those were in accord with your discussion, but
Looks fine to me.
we've got them on here for your confirmation before we actually got them to an agenda. Accord with them, then the next meeting, we'll probably put those on consent agenda.
You're talking about the mayor and or 2 commissioners and
So the mayor can, by his or herself, can request a agenda item, and that's kind of the way it is now, and. But we've always been just like anybody who has to be on. We kind of let them on. Would be best to define the process for that, as we trying to do with many things, and. So we just indicated our discussion last time, just like with a special meeting, 2 commissioners can call a special meeting. Same with so there or two commissions, that's exactly how it works with special meeting calls as well.
I think communication is just so important. And I think that if two commissioners want to get something on the agenda, that's great. But just for example, if Kelly and Mary have something that they want to get on the agenda, but in making some phone calls and talking to Doug and talking to Alan or Gordon, they're not getting any good vibes from it, then think about, do we really want to bring this? Do we really want to take everybody's time when you already know that you're getting pushed back, unless it's something that is really critical? Don't take everybody's time in this meeting when you feel like there's going to be pushback.
Well, it makes business run smoother. It's like, I've never 8 years put anything on the pre-meeting agenda without talking to at least 2 or 3 of you. And make sure that, again, we're not wasting each other's time and because we work on consensus up here. So why would I bring something to the table when nobody else has the interest in it? It's wasting the citizens' time, it's wasting our time, it's wasting Greg's time. So I think, again, no matter what people think this will make business run smoother.
Well, for sure, and I agree. I don't want to waste Greg's time.
Well, it's not a lack of validity, it might not be the right time.
Yeah.
It's a good thing for us to bring up. Let's hold off, we have another load of things that we're dealing with, let's look at that for a future meeting. It's a valid thing. It's valid if 2 people bring it up, I think it's a valid thing we should talk about, but it might not be the right scheduled time.
I think it comes down to like, glad you were working your booth at Artelicious and a citizen came up and said, hey, I think we need to do this. And then I came up to buy a picture to take the can and, you like, hey, somebody just said this, what do you think? And then kind of starts that brainstorming even before we get to the table too. But then you get, a lot of information and that we can, I think like picking each other's brain is,
Exactly.
I think
a great,
communication healthy. I think it's very healthy.
yeah, to get a lot of perspective. When you get 7 different perspectives,
I think it's very healthy.
yeah.
Okay, well, we're all good with that. That concludes my scheduled items there. If anybody else has anything they would like to discuss tonight or not.
All right, at this time, we will open it up for public comment. We will start inside the city chambers first. And after everyone has exhausted the public comment inside the chambers, we will then open it up to Zoom participants. Just for the record, please state your name and address, and you will hear when your time limit is up for the 3 minutes. We will begin now.
My name is Ernest. Last name is Ernest T. I'm a citizen of Adrian. Also, there's few issues regarding the city, because they're still not fixing the sidewalk, but yet they want to waste money, waste taxpayer dollars. It's not right. Main priority should be fix the sidewalk, trim the trees that's on the public side. And there should be no roundabout on a small city, because this city starts from Jackson College to 223 on this side, which is Myers. That's how small Adrian is. So why is there a roundabout? The main priority is citizens' safety. That means the sidewalk. That means tree limbs should be trimmed and not growing through these wires. That's like to prevent things from happening in the near future. And also, it shouldn't be a couple more things. It shouldn't be 3 minutes for the community meeting, and the meeting shouldn't be an hour meeting. It should be about an hour and a half. And yeah, 3 minutes is not enough. A community meeting is letting the community voice the concern, opinion. And 3 minutes don't cut it. Maybe 4 or 5 minutes is cool, but 3 minutes is not enough. Because everything that I wanna say, it doesn't take 3 minutes. It takes more. So I'm here for the community, and by y'all with y'all taxpayer dollars on bull crap, it's not right. If y'all here for the community, be for the community. Fix these sidewalks. Stop worrying about private houses. Cause every walk up and down these roads, I see public trees growing on private lands, meaning on people's houses, private houses. That's a city issue to fix. So no, I don't think that the budget should go towards these city workers. Cause they don't do nothing. Potholes, everything else. Stop wasting taxpayer dollars. If you don't waste it, fix your sidewalks. If you don't waste it, trim these trees. If you don't waste it, fix the potholes. Instead of sitting back, eating donuts, whatever y'all eat and drink. Do something for the community. And not wasting taxpayer dollars. I'm earnest, and that's why I have to, hold on, one more thing. And also, civil rights is actually a federal law. You can, okay, yes, ma'am.
Hearing no more public comment inside the chambers, we will now open it up to Zoom participants. For the record, please state your name and address. Hearing no public comment, may I get a motion to adjourn?
So move. Or.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned, and we will begin our regular meeting at 7 p.m. I call to order the Adrian City Commission meeting for October 16th, 2023. If everyone would please rise for a moment of silence in the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, please. Mayor Heath, present. Commissioner Halt,
Present.
Commissioner Roberts,
Present.
Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Strayer,
Present.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Present.
Commissioner Gauss,
Present.
all commission members present.
May I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Movie adopt consent agenda.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Halt with a second from Commissioner Miller. Roll call, please.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Halt,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Strayer,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss.
Yes.
Consent agenda approved with a unanimous vote.
On the irregular agenda, we have ordinance number 23-008. It is a first reading and introduction of amendments to Chapter 38 of the Adrian City Code Human Rights, Article 2 and 3, Human Relations Commission and Discrimination Prohibited. This is a first reading only. Moving on to, there are miscellaneous reports, commissioners, in your packet. Are there any questions or comments on those reports? At this time, we will open it up to public comment. We will start inside the city chambers first. After we have exhausted all public comment inside the chambers, we will open it up to the Zoom participants. Just to reiterate, please state your name and address, and there is a 3-minute time limit.
Ernest T. Adrian. Citizen. And a citizen of the United States. once again, I think that it should be a vote right now, what, after all this, it should be a vote to continue to let the civil rights or discrimination be what it is, illegal. That means nobody should judge each other upon the color of their skin or gender or whatever it may be. We're all human. So I think there should be a vote, not postponed. And it shall be illegal and continue to be a federal law, which is civil right, is a federal law in the United States. And also, I'm going to continue to say this, that these officers need to do their job, meaning the city officers, because things are not going right in this community. That's why people are scared to move in this society known as this community, the city of Adrian. Why? Because you got discrimination left and right. I'll be scared too. It's not right. Nobody should be judged at all. We should be comfortable and relaxed when we come to this community, which is the city of Adrian. But I'm pretty sure nobody is. Why? Because there's so much darn discrimination. It's a civil right and it shall remain illegal. It's illegal in the United States, so therefore it shall be illegal in the community in the city of Adrian. Because guess what? That flag, just because you say Pledge of Allegiance, that flag stands for one nation. That means all colors, all gender, everything, even animals, under God. That means the all time, where we have the answers to one day. That's what it stands for. Yeah, you could just say it, but do you understand what it stands for? One nation. That means everyone on this God-given earth, on this God-given earth. And that's all I have to say. I'm Ernest T. That's all I say.
Bob Enke, 256 Ironwood Drive. I know that you have the Japanese exchange at the municipal level coming up, and there'll be a number of you that will be gone with that. That, however, is the same time frame that we have with the Japanese exchange with our students from the LISD with the Lenawee County lens. I would like to invite all of you who are here in town for Friday, the 27th at 5 o'clock, 5 to 5:30. The students from that delegation are going to be doing a presentation at Springbrook Middle School on Japanese culture and their educational system. Earlier that day, we're going to start out at the Tech Center and then do various touring through Adrian, and we have lunch planned with the Mayor Pro Temp during that time at the Croswell, or excuse me, at the Governor's Croswell Tea Room, and then we'll continue on throughout our day. But most importantly, 5:30, or excuse me, 5 to 5:30 on Friday at Springbrook, if you can make it.
At this time, we will open up public comment to the Zoom participants. You will see your time on the screen, and please state your name and address as well. Hearing no more public comment, are there any commissioner comments? Commissioner Roberts?
I'd like to thank Public Works specifically and everyone involved with the Cesar Chavez presentation, the Avenue presentation last week. It was very well done. And I was very, very happy to see all of the people that were in attendance. I think it was a moving ceremony, and I'm really happy that we were able to do that. So thank you, commissioners who were all involved in that. Also, I would like to just thank the people that have recently presented for the Community Academy, our planning department, our community development department did a very extensive presentation last week. And before that, we had Matt do a very nice tour of the garage. So it's coming right along, and I think it's been a very good educational piece. And I'd like to thank Aaron for bringing the idea again to something I had thought of originally, but maybe we'll do in the future, of having one specifically for high school students. So maybe next year we will do different bodies of people, different groups of people. So hopefully we'll see. Just want to thank the city staff for their participation. It's really, really important.
Hearing no more comments, may I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.